Hi, friends. The books I have for you today are The Dark, Dark Night and Rumble in the Jungle. So we're going to start with Rumble in the Jungle. There's a rumble in the jungle, there's a whisper in the trees. The animals are waking up and rustling the leaves. The hippo's at the water hole, the leopard's in his lair. The chimpanzees are chattering and swinging everywhere. Some animals are frightening and some are sweet and kind. So let's go to the jungle now and see who we can find. It's great to be a chimpanzee swinging through the trees. And if we can't find nuts to eat, we munch on each other's fleas. The lion's the king of the jungle, who quietly sits on his paws, but everyone quivers and shudders and shivers as soon as he opens his jaws. It's great to be an elephant, all big and fat and round, and wander through the jungle, just elephing around. I could have been gray like a donkey or brown like my cousin the mule, but instead I've got stripes, which my lady friends like, since they make me look handsome and cool. The zebra. Oh, we have the snake. The boa constrictor is a slippery snake who squashes and swallows his prey. He knows that it's not very friendly or kind, but they do it to taste much nicer that way. Giraffe. Some animals laugh at the gangly giraffe, but I hold my head up and feel proud. I really don't care when my head's in the air and my cheeks get kissed by the clouds. Hippopotamus. Hello, I'm a big happy hippo. I sleep in the sun till I'm hot, and when I'm not sleeping, I mooch in the mud, which hippos like doing a lot. Crocodile. When animals come to the river to drink, I watch for a minute or two. It's such a delight to behold such a sight that I can't resist chomping on a few. The rhinoceros. The ravenous rhino is big, strong, and tough, but his skin is all baggy and flappy, which means that there's plenty of room for his lunch that makes him terribly happy. Oh, a gazelle. No one can run half as quickly as me, the galloping, gorgeous gazelle. I can leap up so high that my horns touch the sky, and I'm awfully pretty as well. Gorilla. The gorilla is big, black, and hairy, and the thing that he likes to do best is to look all ferocious and scary and wallop his giant great chest. Oh, the leopard. If you meet a hungry leopard prowling through the night, make sure you call him sir and be incredibly polite. The tiger. Beware of the terrible tiger. You don't always know when he's near, but his eyes shine like lights in the blackest of nights, and his growl makes you tremble with fear. The night has started falling, but the jungle never sleeps. The vultures circle slowly while the leopard softly creeps. And if you listen quietly, you might just hear the growl of a hungry pair of panthers who are still out on the prowl. The lions and the little cubs are sleeping in their den, so let's leave them till tomorrow when we visit them again. The end. And the other book today, friends, is The Dark, Dark Night. Frog was very excited. All winter he had been asleep under a stone, and now that it was spring, he was on his way back to his pond. On the way, he bumped into Badger and Hedgehog. Then he played leapfrog with Rabbit and Mouse. Suddenly he saw that it was getting dark, so he borrowed a lantern from Mouse and went off into the woods to the pond. Whoo! The wind blew in the trees. Squeak, squeak went the lantern as it swung side to side, and the dark was all around. When Frog reached his home, he put the lantern down beside him and was just about to jump in the water when he saw a huge black pond monster with enormous claws coming out of the reeds. Frog grabbed the lantern and hopped as fast as he could back through the woods. There's a huge monster in the pond, he cried. Are you sure? Laughed Hedgehog. Frog nodded, trembling. All right, said Hedgehog calmly. We'll have a look together. I'll come too, said Mouse. Off they went through the woods. Ooh, the wind blew the trees. Squeak, squeak went the lanterns. Wait for me, cried the mouse. And dark was all around. Soon Hedgehog and Frog reached the pond. Now, said Hedgehog, where's this monster? It is there, cried Frog. It was bigger than before, with enormous claws and terrible spikes down its back. Run, run, cried Hedgehog. Pond monster, pond monster. What is all this? Chuckled Rabbit. A monster. There's no such thing as monsters. Come and see for yourself, said Hedgehog, shivering. All right, said Rabbit, I will. I'll never swim in my pond again, sniffed Frog as they set off through the woods. Ooh, blew the wind in the trees. Squeak went the lantern. Wait for me, cried Mouse, and dark was all around. It wasn't long before they were back at the pond. Rabbit, Hedgehog, and Frog tiptoed to the water. There it was again, the big pond monster. It was bigger than ever. It had enormous claws, terrible spikes on its back, and two big horns, and wildly waving arms. Run for your life, yelled Rabbit, racing back through the woods with Hedgehog and Frog close behind. What is going on? Asked Badger. So they told him all about it. Come along, Badger said. I'd like to see this monster of yours. And off they went once more. Ooh, howled the wind. Squeak, squeak went the lanterns. Wait for me, cried Mouse, and the dark was all around. As they reached the pond, a huge gust of wind came through the trees and blew out all the lanterns. I can't see a monster, said Badger at last. That's because it's too dark, whispered Frog. And there they all stood, waiting in the moonlight for something to happen. Just then, Mouse caught up with the others at last. Yoo-hoo! She shouted, waving from the bank. Badger, Rabbit, Hedgehog, and Frog looked at Mouse, and then they looked at the small black shape waving from the reeds. Look at that, said Hedgehog. That's not a pond monster, said Rabbit. That's Mouse's shadow, said Frog. I can't believe it, said Badger. You were running from your shadow every time. The four friends laughed and laughed and laughed. Hooray, cried Frog, there's no monster at all. And with a huge happy splash, he leapt into his lovely pond at last. The end. Thank you for joining me today, 4K friends.